Hello and welcome to Crafty Learns Spanish. We're going to do a bit of a recap today about everything we've learned and how we've all put it together. I like to do this because learning isn't a straight line, it's circular. So you're going to have to go back, and it's like a spiral. You go back a bit and then it gets bigger and bigger, but you're always looking at the same things, the simple things you learn at the beginning will always be with you at the end. So what I want to do is just have a little look at all the things we've done so far, make sure and show the importance of them. Now, I don't know, we did the sounds of Spanish. Let's have a look. So obviously the sounds are very important. I hope I've stressed that, because if you don't learn the sounds, you're not going to have an easy time, basically. So we had the consonants and all this, the diphthongs, your pronunciation, and the stress. Okay, so if you haven't sort of conquered them, just stick with them first. Don't try anything more. Don't try anything difficult. Okay, once you get the sounds, that's half the battle done. And in the grammar, we looked at the subject pronouns, what the Spanish use. We looked at some regular verbs and verb conjugation, which was a bit of a difficult one for English people. If there's problems, I can do that again and go over it, because this is one of the most important things as well. But let's go back and then we'll come back to that. This is what I want to talk about. The 4 gems, as I call them now. Okay? A statement, a question, a negative statement, and a negative question. These are the 4 ways you generally speak. Okay? I either say something, you ask something, you say no to something, and you can do a question and negative. So there's other forms, obviously, but these are things you use every day. Okay? And you should be able to understand that and do that, because we've looked at this in the past few episodes, so this shouldn't be too difficult. And then we're going to look at it, maybe try and do a sentence at the end that we can that you should be able to translate. Maybe a few extra words to learn, but that's not too bad. So these 4, these 2 positive ones, you are going to do it. Vas a hacerlo, right? Vas a hacerlo, and the question: are you going to do it? Vas a hacerlo? You say, and remember the intonation. The intonation's key to the question, and context. Well, context is always key. So if somebody says I'm going to do it, and you say vas a hacerlo, maybe without a great bit of intonation, it's understood as a question. You don't have to do the because I do that for emphasis. At the beginning you emphasize it, because it's not we are used to just see here, you are is positive and are you is the question. So we're used to swapping the order of the words. In Spanish, obviously, not so much. So they're saying the same words, but in a different way. Okay, and it's the same with the negative, right? They use not, where we put no, they put no, okay? And we change the order for the question, and just the not is the same. But they don't change the order, it's there. So, no vas a hacerlo, no vas a hacerlo. Hacer is to do, remember? And it, whatever it is, something, And yes, and it sounds the same in Spanish as it does in English. Sorry. But it's a generic word. I have to use it. And it's useful. And this, no vas a hacerlo, the question. Okay, so you can either no vas a hacerlo, do the intonation, or the context provides it. No vas a hacerlo. You see, they're slightly different, but the context will give you your clue. But always try with intonation when you practice, okay? And the practicing, if you remember, goes with the sounds of Spanish. The sounds of Spanish, as we see here, the pronunciation and the stress. And if you go to the videos, you can have this, and you'll just look at it and go again and again. To get the vowels, which are the most important, and the consonants. They don't take too long to learn. It's actually very good Spanish for learning. These maybe take a bit longer, but you've got all these things to help you. So you have to remember, you know. Remember to use the helpful things. Ay, 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 ay. You know? Ew, ew. And we've been looking at them in some verbs, you see. And then the pronunciation is stress. Where you do it. How you say it. Escuela, remember? Inteligente. Centro. Joven. Insectos. Now, I have it on good authority that actual Spanish children are taught this way. I was taught, they told me with a different word. It said difícil, which is difficult. Difícil, they had to do that a lot. Difícil, because if I write it here, difícil. Okay, obviously the stress is here, and this is because it's and they put a little accent. Sorry, because it ends. If you remember this, otherwise it would be difícil, but it's not. It's difícil, difícil, because if it ends in L, it should be on the last syllable. So they have an accent. So it's difícil. So that's why. Because if you say difícil, they'll look at you. They'll understand, but you know, it's like in English when someone says an English word strange, you look at them first before it may take a second to catch on. And to be honest, I watched a video with somebody who couldn't say an English word, and they were English. They must have seen it written and tried to see how it was, and they couldn't get the actual sound. So that was a bit scary. But apart from that, anyway, the 4 gems. These are the things I want to impress on you. Okay, once you know these and are gonna do them, you will be expanding on these. Okay, expanding on the questions. There are other parts of speech. For example, imperatives, commands, you know, or ways of expressing emotions, surprise and things like that. But generally, you're going to be using statements, questions, negatives and negative questions. Seems to come back always to this. So to get this down, you have to do it properly. Okay, so please work on this. This is important. Alright, so you have the statement vas a hacerlo, and we looked at this in I think it was in the first speaking class. Nothing has changed. But now that you know a bit more, you have to go back to this and repeat it, because you're going to be doing gradually. We did this with, I think it was with es posible. We did it with 2 words. Now look, you can do it with all these words. So as you gradually learn more and get it down, you're gonna start to use this a lot more. This is just was a 2-word example. You see, a sentence obviously, and we can expand on it, of course. I mean, we could try and think of a sentence in English. And we're going to introduce a few new words, because I like to introduce new words every class. For example, I still can't type. What to do? Question mark. I have to do it, but I don't know if I can. It seems possible. It is possible. So we'll just stick there. Oh, I'm writing in the Spanish way. Ha ha ha. So you think you kind of do a sentence like that. The only thing is a word here I don't know, right? To know is in Spanish is saber. Comes from sage, a sage person, wise, knowing. Okay, I think that's they call somebody who's wise is sabio, right? But the first I know is irregular. Only for the first, well, first person. I know is, let's see. That's really good because it's short, it's sweet. Did I do it? Oh no, I didn't do an accent. It's my monitor. It's dirty. See, okay. So we should be able to do this quite easily by now. Now we've had, I don't know how many lessons, 7, really, 4 or 5 lessons, but this is possible to say. Okay, if you break it down, take your time. Okay. Oh, we should have a comma there. So you know these words. You know this word. Maybe you don't know this word, and now you know this word because it's this. So you shouldn't be able to put it in a negative. You should be able to say this and this as well. Okay, so the only thing is, if you say I know in the negative I don't know, it's gonna be make it a negative statement. So if we're making this this is a positive, then this is a negative here. So it's not difficult. It's just putting no. It's just following the rule. You just follow. It's like the signpost, remember, or the directions. You follow directions in the car. You go where you want. You think the directions aren't important, and you get lost. Basically, that's it. If you think you know better than the directions that are put out by civil engineers and people who make maps, then well, that's that's. I don't know what to say. But if you think you know better than these people, well, go ahead. You can get lost. I mean, figuratively speaking. Literally. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So we know what we have. We have a question. So we know we're going to do an intonation. We have a sort of affirmative, but then a negative, and then affirmative. And I think we're going to introduce another one. Yeah. Let's just add it because we're on the subject. Do you think it's possible? Question. Now, in Spanish, think, they have two, well, they don't use think in this sense. They would say believe. Do you believe it's possible? And believe is creer. Okay, and it's a normal verb. It's not irregular. All right. So this is not irregular. So if you should know how to conjugate this, but we'll look at it. Okay, so we're gonna begin by just looking at this and seeing if we can change it. And I'm gonna make this a question. So there you go. Oh, could we do it as a... Well, let's do it as a dialogue. Yes, why not? Yes, it is possible. Oh, I'm doing it, and I know you can do it. Yes, it is. Oh. Yes, it is possible. I think. I'm just making this. I'm just trying to make this as not hard as possible, but you should be able to do this. Let's just move these down, or down a bit. because they're getting in the way. Okay. So let's try it. So I don't know. We know from just learning. All right. It comes from the verb saber, and it's irregular for the first person. All right. Say. Okay. Just for the first person. Second person, it acts regular. Okay. And this is one thing you're gonna say a lot. Trust me. I don't know. For example, I don't know Spanish. No sé. If I don't know how, I don't know Spanish. No sé español. And trust me, I've used this a lot, and you're gonna use it. You're gonna use it a lot. So, and it's very easy to learn. You just have to learn say. I know. And then put the negative. Make the negative. Right. So then we've done that. No sé. And you've done it. No sé. Okay. Now what? This is the question what? And remember that in Spanish? Well, I think what I'll do is I want you to pause the video and see if how much you can do. How much of this you can do. To believe is regular, so you shouldn't should be able to conjugate that with everything, you know. And just try it. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay? Well, I hope you paused it. Because now we're going to look at it. It shouldn't have taken too long because the words are repeated and things like that. It's not a difficult thing, I don't think. After you learn everything and follow these rules. Okay, so I don't know what to do. So we have the first one, we'll break it down. No sé. Okay. Now the question what is que, if you remember. And this is the infinitive. If you remember the infinitive of to do, which was hacer. Right, so we put them together. I don't know what to do is I don't know. No sé qué hacer. No sé qué hacer. Highlight that. No sé qué hacer. Okay. So we've already got a word hacer. So we go. I have to do it. Now remember, this was one of these special useful phrases that we use a lot. I have means obligation-ish. There's no one can really obligate you, but I have to do it. So I have was remember the verb and how we learned it with Austin Powers and Inspector Gadget with 10 pounds each or whatever. So tengo. So tengo que, and we have to put to do, hacer, and it, lo, because you've got it here as well. So you know, I'm helping you out here. So from the start, no sé qué hacer. No sé qué hacer. It's a question. No sé qué hacer. Tengo que hacerlo. And we learned this, remember? It was a dog, pero, no, sorry. It's pero. But you have to think of a pair of bums, pair of butt cheeks. So, but, I don't know. What did I do there? But I don't know. No wonder you couldn't do it. I hope you spotted that earlier. I don't know if I can. Pero no sé. And if you don't know this one, I think we looked at it once. It's sí. It's not yes, it's sí. Alright? Sí puedo. I can. No sé si puedo. No sé si puedo. Okay, so all together. No sé qué hacer. Tengo que hacerlo, pero no sé si puedo. ¿Es posible? Ajá, you remember. ¿Y tú crees? ¿Y crees? Now, crees is impossible. Now, there's a trick here. I've tricked you. Sorry. Don't worry about it. Because this is English. And we have two statements. Here, normally, it should be this. Do you think that it is possible? Now, in Spanish, you have to put this all the time. So there's a little nugget of information I have to do. I purposely left it out because I know we don't speak like that. But you have to start getting into the habit of speaking like this. So when you know that you can put that in English, you will have to put it in Spanish. And that is just like this, okay, but without the intonation. So do you think would be, let's put this, this is how we do it, crees, because it's you, and you're going to do it like a question. ¿Crees que es posible? ¿Crees que es posible? So I'm not going ¿qué? I'm going ¿qué? ¿Crees que es posible? So now this is a trap because it is what people, it's the hardest thing for us to do, to think of putting that in there all the time, but you have to do it in Spanish. So there's a nugget that you can take away from this class. And finally, this sí. Now this sí this has an accent, so it means sí. You have to do it a bit more. Sí, 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 sí. This one doesn't have an accent. Sí. So, pero no sé si puedo. ¿Es posible? ¿Crees que es posible? And now the next one. Sí, es posible. Creo. Because the first person. Sí, es posible. Creo. I don't be sure. Creo. Oh, sí, es posible, creo. Now, sé. And now is another little trap. That, you can do it. Sorry, this is the only way to do it because you would have thought if I'd put it, it would sound strange because we don't speak like that. So, my traps. Terrible traps. You would talk like that. Do you think it's possible? But you wouldn't talk like that. Do you think that it's possible? Maybe if you're posh, I don't know. But most of us are not. We're just learning. And that is the same. I know you can do it. But it's I know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. But we tend to omit this a lot. So, sé que puedes hacerlo. Sé que puedes hacerlo. Okay? Now, if you remember, it doesn't have a to here because this is a special word in English. So you're not going to see this to do here like this. But in Spanish, you ignore that and put the whole infinitive, the whole verb combination. So sí es posible, creo. Sé que puedes hacerlo. So let's practice all it together. I don't know what to do. I have to do it, but I know if I can. I don't know if I can. Is it possible? Do you think it's possible? Yes, it's possible, I think. I know that you can do it. Or I know you can do it. See, now I'm reading it. I say it. So you have to remember that. So in Spanish, no sé qué hacer. Tengo que hacerlo. Pero no sé si puedo. ¿Es posible? ¿Crees que es posible? Sí, es posible, creo. Sé que puedes hacerlo. Sé que puedes hacerlo. I know that you can do it. Yes, affirmative statement. This one, yeah, I know you can do it. So there you go. This is why these 4 gems are important. Because we've done all this, and it hasn't been that difficult, apart from not sorry about this little trap. But when you learn it, if I trap you, it tends to impress more on the memory. Okay, maybe you had, I know, sé, puedes hacerlo, but that sounds horrible in Spanish. So you're going to have to use that. Now, I think I've mentioned this before. Don't quote me on it, but we know that that is K. Now, I have used it in another class, but I have not said this. Yeah, so that's why. And it's good to know a little tidbit once in a while. When you learn it like a trap, a devious way, it tends to stick in the memory more. So I've been a bit devious. I knew you were going to do it wrongly, but that's the way you learn. So next time you think, is there a that there? Okay. Well, right. I think we're going to end it there. So these 4 gems are what you've been doing. Hope you can learn them okay. And it's not too bad. So next time we're going to look at some vocabulary that you already know, basically. Yes, you know vocabulary in Spanish, and you're going to learn, we're going to open up some of that vocabulary that you know. Because you know quite a few hundred, maybe a few thousand words that you don't think you do. So we're going to do that as a little aside from speaking. But I want you to think about this. If you've got this far on these few lessons, you've done fantastic. And keep it up. I'm very proud. It does take sometimes a repetition of the alphabet and things like that. That is repetitive. Learning the sounds of Spanish is repetitive. But once you know them, you don't ever forget them, and you'll sound very good. Your accent, people go, "Oh, you sound very good. What an accent." Get the sounds down. That's my greatest advice. Learn these 4 gems. And you'll be able to do anything. Okay, well, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.